Welcome to another edition of Africa Sideways. My name's Big Six Simpson, and today we're going to be looking at the top 10 vacation destinations for South Africa, a country that has become a premier hotspot for people from around the world looking for sunshine, beaches, mountains, beautiful people, pumping parties, you name it, South Africa's got it. Often gets bad press, but it still is one of the premier destinations for the world's elite backpackers and everything in between. So let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Where are the top 10 places for you to vacation in South Africa? Now, I have been to all of these places, so this is not just some internet voice pre-recorded robot type thing. This is Big Six Simpson. Number 10 on the list is Sun City in the Pilanesberg. It's always been a beacon of tourism in South Africa. It was one of the first casinos. It's got game parks, championship golf courses, good nightlife. It's about an hour and a half outside of Pretoria in Johannesburg. So it gets a lot of action on the weekends, many visitors. The Valley of the Waves, the Super Bowl, where there's been countless big concerts. It's the playground of Johannesburg, so to speak. Also attracts very many overseas visitors. Great lodges, Kwai Maritani and Bakuban, stayed at both of them. You get right up and close and personal with the big five animals. So if you like golf, game viewing, soaking up the sun, very good weather there. Sun City and the greater Pilanesberg has got you covered. Number 9, on the other side of Johannesburg, closer to Mozambique, is another hotspot for the big five and game viewing at Hazy View in Nelspruit, where you'll find 5-star accommodation like Sabi and the like, where you're guaranteed to see big five, elephants, lions. The only thing you won't see is tigers. Nelspruit Hazy View area is slightly different to Pilanesberg, which is quite hot and dry. It's more humid and tropical in Hazy View around Sabi, so it is quite a nice change in terms of climate, giving you that hot, humid, balmy, out of Africa type look. It's number 8 on the list, World Heritage Site St. Lucia, north of Durban in KwaZulu-Natal. Massive natural lagoon with countless species of bird life and all sorts of different animals. Many beautiful lodges, great sunsets, great people, great weather. If you like getting outdoors and seeing a variety of wildlife in a safe environment, St. Lucia has got you covered. Moving on to number 7, a personal favorite of mine, another World Heritage Site, is the Baviaanskloof. This is a particular favorite of overlanders and people who like to drive 4x4s. You can also mountain bike and hike through the area. It really is rugged, beautiful South Africa at its best in the mountains. Basically, the Baviaanskloof is a 190-kilometer gravel road through a valley, almost like the Garden of Eden. On the west side is more arid and dry towards Willowmore, and as you move towards Potensi, it gets lush and humid and tropical. If you catch it in the rainy season, you'll get many river crossings, and there is a lot of fun to be had in the Baviaanskloof. And you'll be sure to see a lot of baboons, as it's named after them, and you might even spot a few leopards. So it is one of the most remote and wild places in South Africa. Number 6 on the list is also extremely remote. This one is a lot drier, the Richtersveld, the desert mountain. Good to go then in flower season, which is sort of August, September. You don't want to go there in midsummer, extremely hot, but very remote, quite desolate in places. But also the Orange River runs through it, so there are places that are very lush and great camping if you just want to get away from the masses. In certain parts you might be 100 kilometers away from the nearest person. There's also a 200 kilometer off-road track, so if you're looking for proper overlanding, proper out there, if you're from Europe and you just have people around you the whole time, the Richtersveld in the northwest of South Africa is a definite must, a 4x4 mecca. But you need to know what you're doing, because if you get stuck out here without any help, you are up shit creek without a paddle, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the top 5. This one's a little bit more comfortable. The Golden Gate National Park and the little town of Clarence in particular, a real favorite of mine. This place is in the mountains of the Free State. It's got a lot of charm, a lot of character. A lot of arty people live there. It's basically one of the only cool towns in the Free State, to be honest, and it does it really, really well. The scenery is top notch, good people, good food, loads of accommodation, from cheap backpacking all the way to 5-star luxury. You really won't go wrong with a trip to Clarence and the Golden Gate National Park. Getting to the business end now, number 4 on the list, Umhlanga. You cannot count this area out. Durban South Coast, many miles of beautiful beaches, largely unspoiled the further south you get. Umhlanga's got the Oyster Box, one of the best restaurants in the Southern Hemisphere, frequented by many celebrities, and Prince Harry and you name it, they've been there. It really does have a balmy sort of atmosphere, lovely tropical climate. It gets quite hot in summer, but got a really groovy strip with restaurants, and the George Bar is one definitely to check out. So if you're looking for something cool and chic and lively, and loads of restaurants and beautiful weather and beautiful people, Durban South Coast, Umhlanga and Ballito have got you covered. Top 3 time. What a particular favorite of mine is the Drakensberg, and more closely the Underberg in the Drakensberg. Normally go to Bushman's Neck, which is a really cool. They've got self-catering accommodation, a hotel there, perfect for families, perfect for couples, right in the mountains. Beautiful hot pools. They've got all sorts of activities there. Another favorite of mine is Castleburn, which is a favorite of fly fishermen. I think they've got 20 lakes there, fully stocked with fish. Beautiful thatched upmarket houses. But if you want to go there on the cheap, there's also plenty of backpackers. The Splashy Music Festival, the oldest music festival in South Africa, is held in Underberg. So if you're looking for a banging party, check out Splashy Fen. And if you've got lots of cash on the hip, lots of upmarket accommodation for you to get stuck into. You got a good chance of seeing snow there in June, July, and in summer it gets hot and sticky with a lot of rain, but it's lush and plush, and you wouldn't have it any other way. Getting rather tight now into the top 2, and it's not easy, but Walker Bay comes in at top 2, home to Hermanus, the seaside town of the rich and famous, and also the not so rich and famous, but Hermanus has got everything, loads of beaches, a safe place, lots of chic restaurants, good shopping, good schools, mountain walks, beach walks, off-road tracks. Stanford is around the corner, another cool town that has a beautiful river going through it and a lot of history. It's a big pull for a lot of tourists from Europe, is Hermanus and the greater Walker Bay area. Picture perfect. And if you like long walks on the beach, braais and barbecues at night, and the sun on your back, Hermanus has got you covered. They also have a whale festival there in September, I think it is, and you got a good chance of seeing southern right whales, and there's a nice vibe there going on. there can be only one, my personal favorite, where if I could go there almost every time for holiday, I would. And that's the garden route of South Africa, the breadbasket of South Africa. Home to little town, well, not so little anymore, but home to Knysna, my favorite little town of wilderness. Sedgefield is also very groovy. George is growing as a city, but I prefer the more smaller place in the garden route. And there's a lot of undiscovered places in between. You can go into the mountains and the beautiful gravel roads, Jubilee Creek for picnics. I'm not going to give all my secrets away, but the garden route, you could go there for a month and you wouldn't run out of things to do, especially with kids. And Plettenberg Bay is very cool. There's also the Tsitsikamma, big forests, big energy. If you like the outdoors, if you like hiking, walks on the beach, kayaking down the river, there really is a lot to get stuck into. So that's my top 10 top vacations for South Africa. Don't be scared to come here. There's obviously some dodgy places where you don't want to go. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but there's a lot of beautiful places to go that are pretty safe if you keep your wits about you and be sensible. You will be fine. Things to remember though is don't stay in the center of the big cities too long. Except for Cape Town, Cape Town city centre has improved. There's quite a safety initiative there, but you don't want to be in the centre of Joburg or Pretoria. And Durban's centre is a little bit ropey. I find if you come to South Africa, rather get out of the cities. It's safer that way. It's more petty crime there. The serious crimes happens more in the cities. Cape Town is a beautiful destination, but everybody knows that already. And personally, I don't go to a city for my holiday. I like to get to the great outdoors, sun, sand, and mojito cocktails or whatever you're into. So once you've finished your incubation period, you're ready to travel again, maybe South Africa's going to be top of your list. My name is Big Six Simpson, and we'll catch you next time on Africa Sideways.